We want your questions, so get in touch on X Blue Sky or Instagram at Football Ramble. Comment on YouTube or email us at footballramble.com. And of course, friends of the Ramble get priority on the Discord. Plenty of ways to get involved, and you help make and shape this show. If your question is too crap, we won't ask it, of course. Yeah. But a lot of you get in touch. We appreciate that greatly. And a lot of you get questions on the show because, Peter, they do provide us with some wonderful questions that make our brains go into different places than perhaps we've previously thought.
Yeah, they tickle our brains. They're like a kind of... they're like a little bit of brain surgery every sort of Monday, Tuesday.
Every now and then something gets left in there.
Yeah, there's a little forceps would be left in there.
A few croissant crumbs in the cracks.
Croissant crumbs in the cracks.
In the
of
brain
the cranium,
cracks.
The cranium cracks.
Blimey, the NHS is in trouble, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
if people are having croissants during surgery.
Taken by French surgeons by the looks of things.
Oh, yes, maybe it's there. I've got a few thoughts on that, but it's not the right show.
No.
Okay.
It's for your guest spots on TalkSport. Are French surgeons leaving crumbs in good British brains? Leaving us with no other option than to climb lampposts.
This all being on
flag
strike.
weirdos. Leaving flags there because we've got crumbs on the brain.
Oh, blimey, O'Reilly.
Goodness.
Now, I think I should probably start the show. Or there's questions, rather. T. Spruill asked us on Blue Sky.
Whoa, it's still happening.
Yeah. I haven't
It's
checked
like lifting up a rock and seen some ants running around. Whoa.
You guys are still here.
You guys.
Go
Get
on, Blue
yous.
Sky.
Nice.
Yeah. See, a lot of people left Twitter. Go to Blue Sky.
Like popping you in a Narnia, but it's
is.
much smaller.
Yes, much smaller. But
Less
it could.
Turkish delight.
But the more heads in there, the bigger it gets.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Blue Sky bonces.
Absolutely. The big T says, Marcus. Oh, to me specifically. Are Manchester United now bothering your vergometer?
Do you have a vergometer? Is that
Oh,
part of the car where the driving seat?
Yep.
You got the driving seat, the vergometer.
Yes, exactly.
So 1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah, it's like people think it's a 3-seater in the front. You know, like in America. No, that's just the verge in the middle.
Right, verge in the middle, yeah. At Lyland.
I don't. I think that they are having a much better season than we all thought they were having, and we all thought they were going to have. They are currently way up in sixths. They're a couple of points off Bournemouth in second. Give Bournemouth a few flowers at least, Jim. But the team with the big bouquet at the moment is Arsenal on 22 points. Of course, Manchester United on 6 points. So I don't think they're on the verge, to answer your question. I mean, Egil Harder also asked if Manchester United are good enough to challenge for the title this season.
Egil, come on. Come on, Egil.
Yeah, the answer again is no.
He's been Egil'd on, hasn't he?
Yes.
To say that.
Yeah, but he's a hard... No, it doesn't quite work. I don't think Manchester United are going to win the title this year. And I'll even predict they're not going to win it next year either. But they have definitely been better than what we thought. I still think that there was, maybe not now with the games that they've won, 3 in a row. And I think beating Brighton as they did in the style that they did, fair play to them, I think that's now put it to bed largely. But I still think up until that game, there was still a little bit of a hangover from last season and Grimsby Town.
Yeah,
right.
That Grimsby result was a huge kind of bump in the road, wasn't it?
Hugely
Recovering
embarrassing.
From that took some time.
It did. I honestly, yeah. And so I was very much of the opinion that Amorim would be off in November after that year had expired and his contract and it was cheaper to sack him. I know Luke was of a similar mind. I know he's not here, but I'm quite sure he said that.
Evil Jim's made it very clear that's not going to be the case, isn't it? I mean, we've had plenty of kind of chairman backing managers and then going on to sack them before, but he was talking about how he'll give him 3 years and stuff, and it seems like they do mean that.
But there was chat for that Sunderland game. If they lost that game again, I know Sunderland have been really good this season, but still, Man United would be favourites for that game. There was chat that if they lost that game, he would be in serious trouble.
Right.
And he did look a little bit like a dead man walking. So...
dead man crouching and hiding.
Yeah, dead man fiddling around with a tactics board.
Quite fitting for Halloween week, it would have been. So you should have done that a bit later, I would suggest.
Although I suppose it cost them more.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But if you think about the stuff, to just quickly whiz through rather, we can whisk and whiz their season, because when they played at Arsenal at home and lost 1-0, people thought, okay, there's some improvement here. Against Fulham away, wasn't that convincing. Bang, then you get the Grimsby game when they lose that. Then they just get past Burnley, and again, not convincing at all. You look at the other fixtures, beaten pretty handedly by Man City. Well, okay, there's a bit of a gulf in class there. They get past Chelsea, a bit of a funny game. They lose to Brentford. And that game, Brentford, now we see a pretty good, particularly at home. Their home form's coming into it. Then they beat Sunderland, Liverpool, and Brighton, and suddenly the mood of the place is rather different. So the idea that they're now going to bother the vergometer, and I'm sure T. Sproul is having a little bit of a lull with that, and let him lull. Egil needs to maybe take some crumbs off his brain, thinking that they could challenge for the title. I think that if, when all's said and done, Manchester United have improved from last season. They've shown enough signs of it for us to think. One of the big things is they've made some really good signings, and now Cunha's up and running. He's got his goal, and Bumo was there, scores another.
They're finishing chances they wouldn't have scored last season, and that is the difference.
Exactly.
And they've also kind of opted out of cup competitions.
Yeah, don't have to worry about that.
So they're
genius,
giving themselves
absolute genius.
They're giving themselves the best chance they possibly can by losing in the European final and losing against Grimsby. They're just giving themselves a lot more recovery time.
They're playing the long
game.
game.
Grimsby in the FA Cup.
Yes,
just chuck it in again.
That would be funny.
Yeah, that would be good. They squirm past them on penalties.
So at the start of the season, if you had said to me that in late October, Man United would be a point behind Sunderland, I would absolutely have believed you.
Yeah.
But the context of it would have been a little bit surprising to me, I think. And I sense really that, I mean, the Brighton game was interesting, wasn't it? They were really good for large parts of it, and they played very calm, very comfortable, controlled football. And it was probably the first time really where it felt like actually the players kind of know their roles in this system now, and it's working really well. The interchanges are really good. Bruno Fernandes was really effective despite kind of playing in that deeper role that seemed absolutely baffling to us. Maybe, yeah, because he's obviously a very talented footballer with a really good passing range. So
you're always going to find yourself further up the field than you are sort of designed to be. So he's always going to be effective wherever it is.
But it was highlighted though on Match of the Day and during the game that the formation seemed more fluid.
Yeah. And I think that's them understanding it, isn't it?
Yes, and I think that's probably a combo. I haven't sort of analysed all the games they've played, and I'm sure they've been doing that or trying to do that. But I think my guess would be that Amorim is being a little bit looser. Now, clearly, that what he did at Sporting was effective. But so he's not some fool who's come in. This is not a Gary Neville to Valencia appointment. Okay, not some chancer, but. I think being a little bit of
Gary catching strays.
Well, I say that's harsh on him. It was Peter Lim is the one who should take the blame for that. But anyway, and I think fair play to Gary Neville for taking that appointment. Anyway, getting way off track here. I think that being a little bit looser tactically, or fluid maybe is a better word, and the players may be beginning to sort of slightly understand that a bit more, whatever it is. But you saw that against Brighton. You saw Luke Shaw stepping up into the midfield, and Luke Shaw, when he's one-on-one with the player, he is robust and strong. Like he can, he can do that. And I think, he could be in the England squad next summer, but that's another point. But
he's going to grow Mark is going to grow his hair until he's in the England squad.
Well, me or Shaw. So I think that those are noteworthy points. And with Manchester United, what's the best they can hope for this season to maybe bring it back round to the question? I think that it is a possibility that they are going to challenge for maybe, a European spot. I think Champions League possibly will be a little bit too far.
If it goes down to fifth, though, that is something they could aim at.
But then, having said that, Chelsea are kind of misfiring, although you expect them to be challenging for Champions League. Yeah. I would say the same about Aston Villa, even though they've had a bit of a patchy start. Newcastle as well, you say the same about. Man City. I don't think they're going to win the league, but they're going to be in the conversation. Can Spurs keep going? Can Sunderland and Bournemouth do it? Bournemouth, we saw, dropped off a bit. Still a good season last season.
It tends to happen every season, doesn't it? You have a team like that where you think at this stage, can they go all the way? And then it proves to be too much.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think that the European positions right now, it seems crazy because I really did not think we were going to have this conversation. And I thought that as much as only a few weeks ago. So you don't want to kind of go crazy and go, too knee-jerky. But give them their credit. I think that it is realistic for them to start thinking, okay, we could maybe, achieve a European position.
The
But
issue-
a title, no
Yeah.
chance.
Title
Absolutely
challenge,
no chance.
absolutely no chance.
Yeah.
The reason for that is that I just don't trust them to not wobble again. Even in the game against Brighton, that it was 1 and they concede 2 goals. And of course, Mbeumo then goes and gets another goal and they make it safe. But there is a sense, isn't there, that back door was perhaps still a bit more open than you'd like it to be. One of the interesting things about it is that the recruitment has been roundly criticised for a long time because quite often good players come in and suddenly they're not good players anymore. That doesn't seem to have been the case with Cunha and Mbeumo in particular. Obviously, they're proven Premier League operators, which makes a big difference. And you could say the same about Mason Mount maybe, but he, of course, has had a lot of injuries. So these two have hit the ground running. Maybe Cunha's taken a little while to get up to speed in terms of goal scoring, but they've had the impact that you would have hoped and expected them to have, given the quality of those two players. And what I think is interesting
They're
about them,
beginning
right,
to have the impact.
well, they are. So prior to the last 2 games, Man United were the biggest underperforming XG team in Europe's top 5 leagues, right? And obviously, regardless of what you think of XG, this is still quite an interesting.
I think I think it paints a little bit of a
way to look at the quality of chances people make. In the last 2 games, they've scored 6 goals from 2.4 XG. And Cunha and Mbeumo were massive overperformers of XG last season.
Yeah.
So it's made me think that like United have looked at that and gone, these are guys who can score from a half chance. These are guys who are really good at being clinical when they need to be. And we've seen it from Mbeumo, and we're starting to see it from Cunha. I think Sesko is starting to play some sort of tidy stuff, and it is linking quite well. And obviously he's still sort of being eased into the team as a starter as well. So actually, I know it's very, very early, but the business they've done in the summer is starting to look on grass as it does on paper, which has so often been the problem for them, isn't it? That these signings just haven't worked in slightly kind of baffling ways.
I think the mood being lifted after that Liverpool game.
Yeah,
you
massive.
can't underestimate that. Like such an enormous result and gives them such a lift.
But Man United supporters have seen them raise their game against Liverpool so many times.
They have.
It rarely bears fruit like that. But
Yeah,
There's
and
full
City
storms.
as well. They've had some good results against in a similar way. Yeah.
Yes, which is why one doesn't want to be too knee-jerky because, how many false dawns, as you're kind of alluding to there, Pete. So I do get it, but which is why any talk of them being on the verge of the title, whether asked in humorously or not, they're just no, absolutely not.
They've got before up till about sort of New Year, they've got some winnable games, but there's a lot of them away from home.
But now you don't know what to get with Manchester United, and I think that teams previously
that's useful to them.
that is
right.
yes.
Yeah, especially because you look at Forest in particular, still don't quite know what you're going to get from them. Especially after, we know what you're eventually going to get, but there's a bedding in period, isn't there? And
There is.
they're going to be looking at that the next 2 games, thinking we're going to get this kid's haircut. They've got an on-site barber. You know what to do, Man United content team. Get him in the training ground.
Do you think they've got any money for an on-site barber?
No, they have one. They have one at the training ground.
What,
Yes,
they haven't got
do.
rid of that?
No, I think it's a new thing.
A new what? They've got rid of all of the IT department. They
But
replaced
they've
it with
put
a
a
barber.
barber in for the players.
Good
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, but I reckon the players. I think they don't pay for them. I think you got to pay.
Right. Okay.
That must be it.
It's
That
like
must
it's
be
like a
the-
retirement home. You could cut the old lady's hair for like
fine.
£6 or something.
Yeah, that'll do.
Jim Ratcliffe will do it for you.
To give me the old Ratcliffe buzz cut.
Oh dear.
Surely Ratcliffe, to save money on heating, would want more hair. Would want no waxing.
I like the cut of this kid's Jim. Stop getting your hair
Stop
cut,
getting
guys.
your hair cut.
Maybe he's going to use the hair and put it on the walls to insulate.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I emptied the dryer filter yesterday.
Oh,
all
no.
over my bath, and I forgot, and it was just hair all over my bath. It was no way to start a day.
What did you? I can't believe I'm going to ask him this. What did you do with the hair?
Ate every last bit of it.
Coming up after this, is this the end of the new manager bounce?
I got an email from Josh Brown. Hi, Josh.
Go on, JB.
After Arne Slot's arrival last season, giving Liverpool the super new manager bounce by running away with the league. It's a hell of a bounce, that. We've seen a number of new managers failing to get their teams going. Amorim, United, Postecoglou, Nuno, Potter, Lopetegui.
3 West Ham ones.
Yeah, 3 West Ham ones. Dyche with Forest losing to Bournemouth over the weekend. Have we seen the end of the new manager bounce, Marcus? Well, how long can a bounce be?
Yeah, well, clearly all season with Arne Slot.
Yeah.
3 West Ham managers, 1 current, 2 former. Yeah, I would.
but do
there
you
are
feel-
some clubs where you just go,
but do you
you
feel-
part that. Man United are another one.
Yeah, well, do you feel at West Ham it's kind of like there's a new manager bounce, there's a new head coach bounce. And with West Ham, they never buy players for the current manager that they've got.
Yeah.
They always buy players for some future manager.
Yeah.
They just buy players because they're cheap or they're
No, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
they're
it.
affordable.
They're cheap.
They're
There's
cheap.
no
They're
plan.
affordable.
Also, the future manager has to be unemployed. he has to be someone who's
Yeah.
recently failed.
Exactly.
So they kind of line the nest for him.
And so there's no transfer chest available for a new
Yeah.
West Ham manager, for example.
Yes.
Because you're the head coach. You're just kind of like a guy who just deals, he just deals with the squad you've been given.
what
Yeah.
they need is a new owner bounce.
Yes, that's what they need.
That's the new thing. A new
Yes.
owner
Yeah.
belts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's.
Saudi's in.
I mean,
You absolute rotter.
Shocked at the amount of dildos around the place. My goodness.
they're absolutely everywhere. They're holding the
walls.
stadium
Why
up.
are they in the walls?
This right here is the reason why we run a pretty tight ship back home.
We can't have this many load-bearing dildos. This is so much worse than we thought.
Oh dear. Better than swords lying around the place, though.
Yeah,
I suppose so. yeah.
But anyway,
so.
I would say that, wouldn't I?
you would. Yeah.
Neither is
Ideal.
Is ideal.
You'd prefer a dildo than a bone saw, one would suggest.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
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 I don't know what you get up to in the bedroom, Marcus.
No, I was just waiting for you-
Lopping off
I
limbs
was-
of lovers. Lopping off lovers' limbs. You simply can't have limbs.
Oh, you've been a naughty journalist.
Fucking hell.
Jim Campbell. You're not usually the one to step over the line. To dance over the swords.
You put the grot in play.
You did, yeah.
I'm just
That's a good
yes-anding.
point, actually, yeah. Good on you. And good on you. That's it, Jim.
There we are. Right, well, there you are, Josh.
Yeah.
That's
It depends
comprehensively
on what I mean, like, Lopetegui West. Yeah, I mean, it's all West Ham. West Ham's kind of muddied these waters, really, haven't they?
It's all their
It's
fault.
kind of it's all their fault.
I think Forest have played their part as well.
Postecoglou
Yeah.
was a mad bit of work, and mad things happened. But you could have seen Postecoglou getting about 3 or 4 results.
Postecoglou had the Spurs had a
He did
manager
have,
belt.
yeah, he had that.
And the Spurs-
And that's in recent memory.
it's in very recent
Mate.
memory.
So, I mean, to answer the question kind of very directly, I suppose, no, we've not seen the end of the new manager bounce, and nor will we,
No.
because a new manager coming in and doing well.
A new manager.
Is just, did I say new
Look at that,
manager?
get a manager,
New
get a nan
manager.
in.
There's a Wayne Rooney joke in there somewhere.
There is, yeah.
A new manager coming in
Dirty
and,
little mailbag boy.
doing well is just a statistical certainty, isn't it? That
is,
will happen between now and the heat death of the universe. But I think it feels like we've not had one for a while, and the reason for that is the last one we did have was Vitor Pereira, who's now doing an appalling job. So he feels like he's ushering in a new manager bounce from somewhere else.
It also depends what you mean by a new manager bounce, because do you mean that the immediate results, say your first 4 or 5 games, you improve and then you kind of plateau?
Yeah.
Because did Unai Emery not have a new manager bounce at Villa? But they seem to sort of carry on.
That was a long, like they've finally got a good manager in.
Well,
bounce.
indeed. So yeah. So it depends what you mean, because when we think new manager bounce, we tend to think of a Sam Allardyce going to wherever he's needed and helping them stay up, or even Pardew. Now I'm talking about Crystal Palace. Just specific things, and then you get that bounce, and then it plateaus off, or then it sort of dips a bit, and you kind of go, oh, actually, yeah, that the honeymoon period's over. That's kind of done.
But you do kind of rely on that sometimes, don't you?
Well, sometimes it keeps you in the league,
yeah.
for crying out loud. And then, indeed, sometimes you make those short-term appointments, or it turns out to be a short-term appointment, but it kept you in the league, or it kind of got you back to where something, which leads us back to Nottingham Forest and Sean Dyche. Did they get a new manager bounce against Porto in that game? Well, quite clearly, they won the game against a very good side, and keeping it simple, and Sean Dyche praised the players and said, look, in 3 days they've taken a lot on board. Then they go away to Bournemouth. Well, does that mean the new manager isn't there because they simply lost to a far better team who themselves maybe got a bit of a bounce or whatever when Iraola went there, and a team who are now second in the Premier League?
We could be here for ages, couldn't we?
We could, Peter.
Bounce on bounce.
A lot of
violence.
lot of bouncing, yeah. So I think that Dyche still seems to be what you call the old firefighter manager for me.
And also looks like a bouncer.
It does a bit, yeah.
Sounds like a fire.
Yes. I think, yeah, crackly, yeah, I suppose. With Dyche, I get the good mood at Forest because he's there, and I think that he will improve them from what they had under Postecoglou. but I think that will plateau. I think that will be very much in the form of the previous the aforementioned
stuff they're going to play on the field. Turgid defence-minded stuff they're going to play on the field.
Yeah. Also, as well, I think this season in the Premier League it's more competitive, so I think that makes it much more difficult for managers coming. I don't think there are any gimme games.
Yeah, and the promoted teams, I think Burnley are going to drop off. I think they've been quite fortunate the last few weeks, but I think it's something certainly you would expect. Yeah, I think we all expected, and I certainly expected those three to sort of go down and not do anything. But the Sunderland surprise has been difficult for teams like not Forest, but teams that might go down.
Yes, but do you think as well, though, certain trends come in waves. We saw a lot of sackings a few seasons ago. It was the old managerial merry-go-round. Whereas now, that idea of getting a manager in to be the sort of the firefighter or whatever is maybe a little bit less and less. Well, you could say Moyes at Everton was that, but I think there was that was to kind of steady the ship. But we're hearing now he's a project manager. The term project manager.
Well, I think part of the reason for the prevalence of the old firefighter managers, right, was when they, in the nature of a firefighter, they only come in when something's going terribly wrong, right? No one plans to change the manager mid-season and get someone in as a sort of emergency manager who's going to try and keep you up. But I think such is the pull of the Premier League now, especially with the money available, and that seems to be increasing all the time, is that you can kind of take your pick from some really good managers around Europe. And that wasn't always available in the eras of your Peter Reeds coming in, and even like Sam Allardyce coming into sort of Palace and Sunderland and places like that. That was perhaps a little bit harder for those clubs then. But these guys know they'll get a massive payoff if it doesn't work out. If it does work out, it's a massive platform. They might get a move somewhere else within the Premier League, or they're certainly with their reputation enhanced with a experience of a huge league on their CV. So it's all upside to these managers, and they provide a different option, don't they?
Yeah, I agree.
You can go manage Sweden.
You can go manage Sweden.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Kyle Fraser has been in touch on Instagram and says, "What is everyone doing in the bathroom after watching my video?" No, why?
that bot is so prolific on our posts.
Mad. Absolutely mad.
What was it?
Hang on, what's this? Sorry, explain to those.
On every Instagram post, the first post is the Football Ramble or any sort of podcast we do puts out. The first post is always inexplicably a sexy bot saying the following.
It's something along the lines of, "What is everybody doing in the bathroom after watching my video?"
Yeah.
Because Andy Brassel often asks me that.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Very strange. Oh. We always get hit by that particular bot.
But Kyle hasn't asked that. Kyle Fraser has said, "Why can't Fulham have nice things?"
I get what you're saying there, Kyle.
Yeah. Calvin Bassey's giving away nice things every week, it seems.
Yeah, so I was very conflicted at the weekend. Lovable Jacob Murphy doing over lovable Calvin Bassey. I didn't know whether to be happy or sad.
He had a lot of work to do, you would say.
He did very well.
And he almost had another chance to do the exact same thing about 5 minutes later.
Also, it's a bit disappointing because Bernd Leno, very trusty keeper, he pushed that one out into Bruno Guimaraes' pass, but you think, push that one if you're not going to hold it.
I think he was probably tired, Marcus.
Oh, is he?
He was tired. He had a lot to do.
Well, he needs to spend more time on the training ground then, in the gym.
Tired for the money he earns.
Burnt out. Marcus, what is happening in Fulham? Because a lot of my other Fulham friends is just saying that the manager's rather inflexible. But for me, from what I've seen, just seems to be just a bit of bad comms here and there and some individual mistakes every week.
I think cutting edge and goal scoring is a problem for Fulham.
Yes.
I think
you've had a lot of quite difficult away games recently, though, and that's going to happen. And injuries.
Yeah, I mean, Fulham they've only scored 9 goals in 9 games, and only Forest, West Ham, only the bottom 3 have scored fewer than Fulham this season. So goals is a problem. I mean, admittedly, Aston Villa in 8th, having only scored 9, but they've only conceded 8 to Fulham's 14th. So goal scoring is a bit of a problem. And I think Marcus Silva, they've got quite a small squad compared to some other teams in the Premier League.
In West London.
In West London in particular. Marcus Silva was very disappointed in the recruitment in the summer. He was very concerned about that. They got a couple in. They've got, Kevin, the Brazilian lad, was a big one.
He feels like a nice thing.
He is a nice thing. I think he's being eased into the Premier League. But my goodness, he made an instant impact when he first came on. But the 2 games Fulham have won this season, one was against Leeds at home, where they got a very fortuitous last-minute goal. So it was very in the league, by the way, because they're still alive in the League Cup. And the other game was a pretty impressive and comprehensive victory against Brentford at home. And that wasn't that long ago. It was on the 20th of September. Brentford now are showing what they're made of under Keith Andrews and have had some impressive performances and big wins, obviously beating Liverpool. Fulham have not kicked on. They won back-to-back games. And then, so take the game against Aston Villa. They go a goal up and they're showing that, that they're dangerous on the counter. They've got something going. And then they kind of just end up losing 3-1 and they kind of capitulate slightly. And this is a little bit of a problem for Fulham in that they can start pretty well. Against Newcastle on the weekend, again, started well and are showing a bit. Always going to be, up against it against Newcastle United. And then individual errors cost them. Yeah. Whereas they were showing themselves again on the break that they can be effective. So a lack of cutting edge and sloppy errors. Against Bournemouth, go a goal up where there was not much in it, end up losing 3-1. It's conceding 3 goals in a game where any goal seemed unlikely and they were the first to score. So you match that and then you think, well, actually, but against Arsenal on another day, they might have nicked a point. It's all ifs and buts. Yeah. And it's trying to change the losses into draws and then victories, of course.
And taking that sort of 3-1 loss into the national break as well, you sort of felt like, okay, hopefully without absences you can kind of work some injuries back into contention and then you just get beaten. A pretty decent result, a pretty decent performance against Arsenal, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I was really impressed with them actually.
Yeah, they look, and that's what I mean. They're sort of flattering to deceive a little bit here. But it's all said and done. They're 3 points above Forest. And they're in 17th. So they have to change the results around. Again, it's about being clinical and
you got Wolves at the weekend, Marcus.
Yeah, I know. And as I said
on
yesterday's
show,
relegation
6-pointer.
This is what I thought last season when Wolves came to town. Wolves won 4-1. Now, admittedly, Mateus Cunha scored 2 worldies, and thank goodness he's not involved. But Strand Larson will probably pull out a performance. But Fulham's next 4 games, what have they got? Wolves. Then they've got, in among these 4 games, I think they're away to Spurs, which is obviously a more difficult tie. I think they're away to Everton, and they've got Sunderland at home. Well, Sunderland at home is not a gimme anymore, or it wasn't ever a gimme this season in the Premier League. They have to be getting even a conservative effort of at least 5, maybe 6 points from those games. If they can get, maybe 8 or 9, if you can get 8, that would be...
It's like Spurs and Man City. Ooh.
Yeah, they have to be targeting that. They can't sort of go, oh, well, it's still early days. This is where they've got to be.
It's not, is it? It's a quarter of the way in now.
Exactly.
You're not really getting a kick with Crystal Palace when, 2 seasons ago, you'd be like, oh, we might get something here.
So they really have to be careful, Fulham, because if you look at the teams around them, yes, of course, I think they're currently better than Forest, West Ham and Wolves, although Forest have the potential to go above them, although under Dyche, will that be the case? They're better than Burnley and Leeds, but are Fulham really better than, say, Everton, Brighton, Brentford, Palace? Do you see what I mean? And that's why the recruitment not being that great in the summer, and it's just relying on Marco Silva to squeeze even more juice out of this side, having achieved a record points tally last season. I think come the end of the season, Silva will be really hoping that there's another plum Premier League job on offer, because I think it may well be his last season, because I get the feeling that he's like, I've taken this squad as far as I can go, and if you're not going to back me in the transfer market, which they kind of have previously, but this time round,
because it's your rep that ultimately gets affected by this sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so. Indeed, yeah. I think Fulham can have nice things. They need more nice things, but they need to utilise the nice things and get some nice goals and no more individual errors.
A nice little pool isn't enough.
But it will be salve to the wounds. All right, coming up after this,
don't go in a pool with wounds. Or a hot tub.
Don't go in a pool full of salve with wounds.
That's the advice. That is the takeaway from that question, Carl. I hope you remember that. All right, coming up after this, the best of British and football's Frankenstein's monster.
From Kyle Gibbo.
Go on, Gibbo.
It's as simple as that. It's as simple as an unalloyed as this, Marcus.
Go on.
Who's the greatest British footballer of all time, mate?
Whoa.
I remember Andy saying that he thought it was Gareth Bale, but surely there are so many historical options that should be considered too, including Sir Robbie Charlton, Dennis Law, Kenny Dalglish, Jimmy Greaves, John Charles, and maybe now even Harry Kane and Wayne Rooney. I mean, Andy could have been saying that we could have been talking about contemporary, kind of, contemporaneous ones, I guess, maybe. I'm trying to help him out here.
I'm glad that we've said British because it gives me a chance to mention Tom Cairney, of course. Has caps for Scotland.
And that wonderful wand on the end of his leg.
Yeah.
I mean, he's my favourite British footballer.
Yeah.
Britt Arthur. I like him. He's quite good.
I think that Andy Brassel is onto something there saying Gareth Bale, because what he did at Real Madrid, if you look at his highlight reel at Real Madrid, is incredible. But also, I know that the last, how many European Champions Leagues would it be? The last sort of couple,
couple of
maybe?
medals
He won 5.
I think lot the last 2 off, I would say.
I don't know. I think there are 4 where you think, you know what, he's made a contribution to those.
I think if I burgled his house and stole the last one, the judge would go,
yeah,
fair. We don't have gavels in this country. Where have you got the gavel from, Judge?
Hang on, you're not the judge. You're the you're the defendant.
And why is this being televised?
Why am I telling the judge what to do? I just think I would be treated fairly by the court because he stole his.
Finally,
I thieved the thief.
Yeah, okay. I mean, he didn't always start in Champions League finals, but it's fair to say that when he came off the bench, he made a contribution.
But when you look at the highlight reel, as you allude to, there are huge moments in huge games where he has turned the game, and has made a big contribution. I think the kind of amazing thing with Gareth Bale as well is there's a sense that he actually could have done so much more, and that's normally because of a sense of a talent that's been unfulfilled. But that's not the case with him.
Yes.
There's a sense that he's like.
He could have done that
not even
longer.
that into this.
Yeah,
Look how good he is.
I think if he wasn't maybe he would never have become that footballer, but Spurs weren't where they probably needed to be. I mean, they were Champions League, I suppose, weren't they? Yeah.
I mean, he destroyed Maicon that time, didn't
Yes,
he, famously?
he did.
It's rare that you see one player
in
retire another's reputation.
In Maicon's defence, into a 4-0 up?
Yeah, right.
So he's a bit like, there he goes.
Tell a judge.
Let's make it 4-2. I don't get 4-3. Okay.
Right,
let's see this out. Let's see this out.
But like if he hadn't been at Spurs, perhaps he wouldn't have become that footballer. But I think with him playing at a different side in England and also going to a non-mad, if there was a version of Real Madrid that weren't mad, I think we would be looking at his career very, very differently. And in spite of all of those drawbacks, he still managed to be probably the most celebrated British footballer. And I'm certainly of the opinion that he's the best.
So I would say that he's perhaps not the most celebrated. I think he has been celebrated. So a Welsh friend of mine often bangs on about this and says he's totally underrated. If he was English, he would get more.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right.
Whoever's from your own country, you're going to talk about more. It's as simple as that. But having said that, I do think he probably has been slightly underappreciated in the term in the talk of greatest British footballers of all time. Possibly because maybe we don't have that specifically British chat we often think about from the individual nations.
And his best stuff was at a Spanish club as well.
Yeah,
which
I think actually might well go in his favour. Right?
But I think ultimately, I think the way his career kind of wound down, I think what you said earlier, Jim, is that he did fulfil his potential because he scored goals in Champions League finals and was a big part of their unbelievable success. No one had defended a Champions League title until Zidane came along at Real Madrid and they did it 3 in a row. So the medals are there for all to see, and the enormous contributions and the amount of goals he scored and just the brilliance of him. I think
came back from injuries as well, big injuries.
Indeed, I mean, he even won the MLS Cup in Los Angeles when he was playing for them. So I think with Bale, in terms of raw ability, what the pace, the power, the skill, the goal scoring, the absolute hammer of a left foot. Like you look at all the attributes of the man, he is without a doubt one of the greatest footballers that Britain has ever produced, possibly the greatest in terms of talent. You could talk about Dalglish and Greaves and Law and Sir Stanley Matthews and all these, but I never saw them play.
Yeah.
They're all greats, and I think Bale is in that bracket. But in terms of what he achieved in terms of medals more than them. But what he did for the Welsh national team as well.
So staying with Welsh players, actually, I think someone who is possibly the biggest victim of the way we view pre- and post-Premier League football is
Dean
Ian
Saunders.
Rush. Yeah.
Oh, Ian Rush.
Yeah, scored 346 goals for Liverpool across 2 spells, won an enormous amount of things with them.
Yeah.
I think he's he's probably someone who's in the conversation rather than the answer. But I think he does get forgotten, possibly because he was
time on the continent. Though.
Yeah, and he was recently seen creating an AI musical to try and settle a dispute with a scaffolding company.
Yeah, I guess you kind of
which doesn't help.
You live long enough to be an AI menace, don't you? I suppose. But with Bailey, we've not seen him enough. I guess footballers nowadays, they've got enough money to disappear. You know what I mean? They've got fuck you money. Back then, you kind of had to. You had to be out there, just
that's fair.
Being deported.
Mind you, anyone could get a mortgage back in those days.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. Well, Ian Rush talks a very good game, sort of saying that he could still play the game now if he was 25, and that's not. He was all pace, but like, and that I don't agree with that. But
he could finish.
An enormous amount of goals. Absolutely enormous.
What do you think on the point though of does the trophy haul matter or not? Because like. Bobby Moore was a phenomenal player. He won the World Cup, but the way his influence on the game as well, yet not a big trophy haul.
No.
Harry Kane is another one. Like
it's funny,
the main one, though, isn't it? If you can, main trophy
if you can put Bale or Kane in your team, who do you go for?
Yeah,
I think it's a tough one. But I think I might lean towards Kane. Just it guarantees goals.
Well, yeah.
The trophy thing's interesting. I do think it is important because getting those.
All right, Ali McCoist. What you got to say about that?
I'd love to meet him.
Paul Gascoigne.
On holiday.
Paul Gascoigne?
All inclusive.
Yeah.
Less so Paul Gascoigne in this.
You don't want him in this?
No.
I don't want him in all inclusive.
No. But I'd love to be on holiday.
Room and board only, please, Paul.
Yeah. Love to be on holiday and Ali McCoist to just be the charming old gentleman that you keep seeing in the bar.
Yes.
In the evening.
Exactly, yeah.
Did you guys have a nice day? Have you seen that Paul fella? He seems a bit sketchy.
Yeah. Hang on a minute. Is that AC/DC? It is.
All right. Yeah. So,
do you need a statue of you?
Oh, I mean,
Kane's in there.
Yeah,
Kane's in there.
Yeah,
Bale's not, as far as I'm aware.
No.
Anyway, let's finish with this from Andrew on Discord. If you could have a Frankenstein's monster made out of 5 footballers, who would you pick? Andrew said his would be the brain of Zidane, the torso of Adiakin Fenwa, the arms of Rory Delap. I like that specific thing. The right leg of David Beckham and the left leg of Lionel Messi. Good legs.
It's not bad.
Great legs.
I'm glad we're talking about this because obviously Halloween's coming up. Last year I read A Frankenstein, by which I mean I had a copy of the book Frankenstein, which I read in case that's confusing to anyone.
It's a different interpretation.
There is a fantastic bit of information in the introduction to it about Percy Shelley, one of history's wettest men. I don't just say that because he drowned. So he was apparently there was a point where he was read this stanza from a Coleridge poem, which goes like this: like one that on a lonesome road doth walk in fear and dread, and having once turned round walks on, and turns no more his head, because he knows a frightful fiend doth close behind him tread. Right, and apparently this stanza caused history's biggest drip, Percy Shelley, to faint in terror, to faint.
Bloody hell.
Heavens, a fiend!
Yeah, but different rules back then, though, wasn't it? That would have been like watching like 3 RoboCops or something.
I mean,
it would have been.
That song Rumble by Link Ray, the instrumental, started a riot once.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
But that was only in my house. So who are you thinking then? I mean, he said made out of 5 footballers. I think you could.
You wouldn't go for Akin Fenway. If you wanted like a muscular man, you'd go for like Adama Traore.
That's exactly what I've gone
for.
Who
at the weekend, Anthony Gordon tried to professional foul, and it was hilarious.
So you could have the pace of Adama Traore.
Right, yeah.
So I suppose you could, but then
you'd
the
want
legs.
the physicality. I think the physicality.
Yeah.
You'd want like a Nick Voltamada or something.
You can have his height. You can have his height.
Yeah.
So when he says 5 footballers, I know you're trying to restrict us there, Andrew. I understand, but I think we could, if we're going to be a bit naughty to Andrew, I think we can have.
Yeah. This is your show, Marcus. You do what you like. I've stuck to 5, but you know.
Well, I would have the head of Harry Maguire.
Right. Okay.
That's what I'd do.
With bolts in the neck, presumably.
Yeah, you could have the bolts in there if you want. Who would you have the heart of? Roy Keane.
I don't know. You'd want someone.
Someone who never gives up is all.
You'd want your Roy Keane, wouldn't you? But the
like a winner
the problem is his heart allowed him to do ultra violence as well.
His heart was within it.
Was his heart in the wrong place at times?
What was it? His brain? You never knew with him.
All right, okay. So
I feel it was calculated. So he planned to do a lot of stuff.
Okay, so to use a contemporary example, you would want the heart of maybe Declan Rice.
Right.
Who just to me, he's
Okay.
got the right temperament. He keeps going. He's a great competitor.
It keeps beating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great. I mean, maybe the lungs of
Bare
it.
minimum,
Yeah.
really, yeah.
I think I would like the hair of Kaká.
I love that you come
All
for
right.
head and hair.
Yeah.
You've used up two spots. I
Yeah,
see
yeah,
why
yeah.
you've gone for more than 5.
Another player that survived Real Madrid.
Yes. Well, I didn't.
No,
Well, and the rest is just Tom Kearney. No, I think I'd have. He said the left peg of Messi. I'd have my man Kearney over Messi for the
Right,
left
okay.
peg.
Yeah.
It's such a cultured one. Because let's be honest, Frankenstein's monster's not played in the Premier League. He'll be in the Championship. The penis of Dion Dublin.
I did wonder about the penis.
Right,
and Dion Dublin is, of course, the
famous-
obvious answer.
Famous
Yeah.
Willies, yeah. But that was only because of a second-hand report from Sir Alex Ferguson. And Sir Alex Ferguson, the rest of the Manchester United team may not have had big penises, so he may have just been been impressed by
like a
quite an average
perspective
penis.
thing.
Yeah, perspective thing. Yeah.
I think I would have the brain of Xavi rather than
Ooh,
Zidane.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, nice.
So-
it's that 360 thing, innit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Always looking.
Yeah.
Always looking.
Yeah.
We can all look, can't we?
If I may put my 5 thought forward to create my Frankenstein's monster.
All right,
Yeah.
answer the question then.
Yeah, I will. So I've gone for the left leg of Roberto Carlos,
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
the right leg of Gerd Müller.
Oh.
Kind of lopsided.
I feel like
isn't it?
Percy. What's his name?
It's Shelley, yeah.
Yeah.
The feet of Ronaldinho.
Love that.
Okay,
Also
nice.
gone for the sort of the body and arms of Adama Traore, as
Yeah,
you
yeah.
suggested.
Good.
And the head of Cristiano Ronaldo, because he's got 156 headed goals to his name. And let's be honest, a pretty good footballing brain and a fitting relentlessness. There's a line
The
that...
liver of Jack Grealish.
The calves of Jack Grealish.
Yes. Okay, fine.
There's a line that Frankenstein's monster says in the book, which makes me think that Ronaldo's head would be appropriate as well, which is, I have love in me the likes of which you can scarcely imagine, and rage the likes of which you would not believe. If I cannot satisfy the one, I will indulge the other.
Oh, blimey.
Did Frankenstein's monster say that?
He did.
He never spoke in there. He just goes,
he speaks
no.
very eloquently in the book.
When you read the books rather than watch films, like Jim does to his credit.
I don't even watch the films. I watch the YouTube shorts.
No,
and
I
stuff.
haven't done either,
Yeah,
Peter.
no.
What about Hulk, the Brazilian? Or is that a different kind of...
Actually, he'd be quite handy general kind of spare parts bin, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the fact, though,
For the bin dippers.
that
Where's
you have answered.
Where's all the parts gone? They're just following a cousin away. Was it the cousin? Niece?
But Jim,
Google that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Google that, Finn. I think it was his niece.
No,
Lawyers.
it was Neymar's
his
sister.
wife's
It was
daughter?
Neymar's sister.
No, his wife's cousin, I think. Maybe. One of them.
I think, though, that
Strike off as applicable legal team.
apparently Brazilian footballer Hulk married his ex-wife's niece.
Thank you.
After ending his 12-year marriage to
Finally.
the mother of his 3 children.
Sometimes nieces are sexy.
Right.
Peter, can we hear about your parts?
Yes.
Yes. 1960s Huddersfield Town player Billy Legg. 1950s plays for Dundee FC Tony Nees.
Good, yeah.
And
Tony Knees.
I've only got 3. Finish it up with Danny Shittu for the bum.
Right. So this player doesn't even have a torso.
No, yeah,
Just legs.
Just great. Because you could
knees.
run through. People will be like, I've got nothing to grab hold
Yeah,
on. No
I am-
professional fouls.
I am not marking that. What is
Yeah,
that?
what is
What is that?
What
Surely
is that?
with the torso
a
being-
pooping Scottish Huddersfield footballer, just constantly shitting everywhere. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about hands back?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sven's fine,
lovely.
Yeah.
Sven's.
Yeah.
You got to have some sort of body.
Chris Armstrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Right.
Okay. Oh, I had one. I've lost it.
It's not the time for it, though, is it? You got to finish the show.
Alan Bonds.
This isn't Marcus remembers things. It's Marcus says things, isn't it?
Alan Ball. Thanks for listening to the Football Ramble, part of the Acast
Thank
Creator
you,
Network.
Marcus, for denigrating my memory.
And after all, you're my Alan Ball. I'm back tomorrow.
And it would be Ginger.
With Luke and with Luke and Ginger Jim. Please do send us your responses, because no doubt you have them.
No.
Opinions and questions for next week's mailbag, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Brian Penis.